Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and I know when I want to keep up with the latest in wrestling news from around the world, I check in with Dead on Dave Productions. He covers a wide variety of wrestling topics, including the career of the hardcore legend. Don't miss it, Dead on Productions. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dead on Dave. Surprise! I'm back on camera for a change. I know it's been a while since you've seen this beautiful face, but I am back and I am here to become a Raw review. So let's get going, shall we? Fade to intro. All right. That's right. I am your boy Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for joining me once again. It is Tuesday, April 5th. And of course, before we get into anything else, make sure you are checking out our good friend in the whole community here. You know, Joe Cronin, Tommy C, all of us. We have a good friend, Tommy NC 2010. He will be on Tosh.0 tonight, and it should be absolutely hilarious. So make sure you check that out. And shout out to Tommy NC 2010. Give the kid some support. He's worked hard. He's done some cool stuff. So give him a little bit of love. For me, which is important because, you know, I do love me some Dead on Dave. It is your Monday Night Raw review, baby. So let's get it going. It's going to be quick, short, and sweet because we covered it ad nauseum on the Joe Cronin Show. So I'm going to get to the things that I enjoyed about Raw. The beginning is not one of them, most of it. Anytime that it was just Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, I had a problem. It was just awful. Those two guys were not doing anything for anybody last night or at all. It just doesn't seem like nobody really cares. They don't care if they're a team. They don't care if they're one-on-one. They don't care if they're dissing each other. It just doesn't matter. They're not eliciting the response. And so it should not come as a surprise that after a lot of back and forth between them, the New Day would get involved, which was a little bit of a surprise, but I think it's a really cool thing, and I think it means a lot that Vince and everyone backstage would put this type of trust into the New Day, who, let's face it, up until recently, were nothing. The New Day was terrible until they got the smart idea to go ahead and turn these guys into super heels and really embrace the hate and have fun with it. Now the New Day is fun and they're interesting, and it's really cool to see what they're doing. And hell, they're in a match with two of the bigger guys within the company. They're in a main event type setting. Now, granted, it opened the show, but it was a very interesting situation. The New Day ended up having a 3-on-2 handicap match against Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, and they kept trying to mention how it was like Freebird rules. The Freebirds would do it all the time. They're getting a lot of Freebird comparison just because there's three of them. Other than that, there is no comparison to the Freebirds. The cool thing is the New Day is everybody has their role. Kofi is kind of that. He's the veteran of the group. He is the biggest veteran of the three. And he's just kind of there probably mentoring the other two because he doesn't add anything on the mic. His ring work, while still serviceable, is not what it once was. You got the powerhouse and the future star in Big E. I think he's the one that they want to come out of the group to be the big star. They're Roman Reigns or whatever. And then you have the talker, the guy who doesn't shut up, the antagonist, the guy who just annoys the shit out of you. That's Xavier Woods, who is also very good in the ring. He's not bad at all in the ring, but he is there because he pisses people off and he antagonizes the shit out of folks. I'll get my hair out of the way. And that's what he does. And it was interesting, and it was a decent match. This is what I'm going to say right from the jump here so I don't forget it later on. All the matches on Raw, solid. I didn't have a problem with any of the match work on Monday Night Raw at all. Even the smaller match, like with Fandango and Rusev. I felt all the matches were very, very, very solid. I enjoyed them. No criticism on that front. I had criticism on some of the promos and things because I don't feel that there was enough emphasis put on some of the matches. There was no real good build or anything like that, and the story wasn't fantastic from last night. But overall, I was really happy with it. And the New Day getting a victory over Reigns and Mr. Randy Orton, I thought was a very big thing, and pretty cool to see that happen. So I got distracted there. I can't remember where I was at. I was talking about the New Day, I believe, and I like the fact that the New Day got the victory in a very controversial fashion because they cheat. That's what they do. It's what the New Day does. Thank you, coffee wench. I have a coffee. Give me the... Now, if I would have spilt this coffee on my legs and burned my sensitive man region, we would have had some serious fucking problems.
No, you just would have cried.
Well, I guess I would have cried, but I mean, I would have... yeah, okay. That's what I would have... Yeah. She read me well. That is basically what I would have done.
That's great.
Ah, God, it's terrible coffee. Bad coffee. I don't know what to do. Anyway, so, yeah, the New Day get the victory, and then they celebrate in the back for most of the rest of the show. I love what they're doing, man. I love the fact that they're being completely ridiculous. I think it's hysterical. I think it's well done. I think it's smart. And I think it's going to help get them over even more as the top heels in the tag team division. It's kind of weird seeing Kid and Cesaro get cheered and stuff, but hey, I like them anyway. In Canada, it shouldn't be surprised I'm getting cheered anyway. So, moving on a little bit later on into the show, it gets revealed that Kane is putting Seth Rollins into another match with Dean Ambrose. And because Seth Rollins continues to whine and cry and bitch and moan, it ends up that now Dean Ambrose has a chance, if he beats Seth Rollins, to get into the main event at Payback and make it a fatal four-way. Now, look, I'm not a fan of this whole situation with Kane and Seth Rollins and the whining and crying back and forth and all of that. It's really annoying. I hate that I'm going to tell on you and all that garbage. It's pissing me off like to no end. But, you know, at least WWE is being consistent and they're sticking with it. Now, you can come to your own conclusions as to why Dean Ambrose was put into the match, whether if it's just for more juice to make the match a little bit more important since nobody seems to give a crap about the other three guys, which I think is valid at this point. None of the other three, all three have lost momentum. Randy Orton, just for the simple fact that all he's got is the RKO out of nowhere. Other than that, nobody cares about him as a face. Roman Reigns still hasn't recovered fully. And Seth Rollins, because of this bitch-like work mentality that he's been doing, he's lost his juice as well. Where's the badass that we saw against Brock Lesnar? You know, go nose to nose. Where's that guy? That's who we want to see. So what do? Logically, you go ahead and you put in a guy who's super over and interesting in Dean Ambrose. And a guy who's been booked poorly recently. So you kind of rectify a lot of situations by putting Ambrose in this match. And the beauty is, if you feel in the next 2 weeks that Seth Rollins is not the guy, or at least he needs a little bit more juice for himself, you go ahead and you take the belt off of him, you put it on Dean Ambrose, and you can quickly give it back to Seth Rollins and have a little bit of a swap and a huge rivalry going into the summer. But that means you've got to commit to these two guys until at least SummerSlam and probably far beyond. Because you continue to have these two go at it, maybe swap the title back and forth a couple of times, maybe only once, who knows. And then you have Brock Lesnar return at SummerSlam and get involved in a triple threat to help put that rivalry to bed. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but I think the combination has to be Rollins and Ambrose. I think that's the effective one. It's not Roman Reigns. Maybe Roman Reigns continues to get bumped a little bit, and maybe they put him in a feud with Randy Orton. I'm not exactly sure what to do with him at this point because nothing seems to be working. So I think the important thing is we're finding the right combination, and it's definitely an Ambrose combo. You know, he is definitely the important part of the situation. So we see Mr. Seth Rollins in the back, and he is walking right past the still celebrating New Day. Absolutely hysterical. Friggin' Ryback comes out after all that, and he gives a promo that nobody seems to give a shit about. The crowd, this is when I really noticed that the crowd was being very interesting last night. Montreal seemed very split on what they wanted to do. And since I'm being interrupted by my wife, I guess I'm going to go ahead and pause the damn thing again and see. I'm sure she has to make coffee or something. I swear to God, it's amazing that I get any work done. It's amazing that I get any work done in this house. So yeah, the Ryback situation, he comes out, and the crowd doesn't really seem to give a crap, but yet they're still cheering certain aspects, like he's getting to feed me more stuff. Ryback goes on and talks, and then Bray Wyatt talks. I just don't care about this rivalry. I got to be completely honest. I just don't care about the rivalry. It's not doing it for me. We'll see what happens. Maybe they can put more juice into it. I have no idea. Everything's about juice today. I don't know what's wrong with me. After that, Cesaro and Kid versus the Ascension. Quick match, not very long. Nothing wrong with it by any stretch. The Ascension worked a decent style. I really want to see more of them, but I'd like to see them drop some of the gimmicky crap and just kind of be badasses like they were in NXT. Cesaro and Kid, God, they are so good. Cesaro is a special athlete. They said it, and I'm going to have to go with that. They're absolutely special in the things that he can do. The 45 seconds of constant European uppercuts from turnbuckle to turnbuckle. That was awesome. Kid gets the victory after Cesaro swing into the drop kick, which I absolutely love. I think that should totally be their finishing maneuver. Natalya is sexy as hell, by the way. Just saying. Ambrose, Seth Rollins, they get their matchup, and as I already alluded to earlier, Dean Ambrose does, in fact, win that match to put himself into the title contention for Payback. So now it will be a fatal four-way. This was a great match, probably the match of the night. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins absolutely went for it, but I did notice that it was mainly controlled by Ambrose. I don't know if something's wrong with Rollins. He's not doing a lot of the stuff that he's done in the past as far as the high-flying things go. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him, but I would not be surprised if he turned out to be hurt. It would not surprise me at all. But it was still a good match. That's what's good about Rollins. He's not hampered by the fact if something's not working for him, he has other styles to fall back on, and he's so talented. So there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So more situation going on with Lana and Rusev. Lana in the backstage getting interviewed with Byron Saxton. She's kind of getting prodded about the positive reactions that she's getting. So obviously WWE is continuing on with the planned push for her and the eventual separating from Rusev, which I think is the best way to go. Fandango walks up and says very sexfully that you have to give in to the WWE universe. You have to give in to the ecstasy. It was quite interesting to see him do that. Creepy, but very cool. Lana basically had none of it. Until the match, of course. Rusev and Fandango in a very short match. The most notable thing about it was Fandango sliding out of the ring, going over to Lana and getting her to Fandango. And that woman smiles, that's the thing about Lana. When she smiles, it is just so captivating. She brings you in with that smile. And it was her sideways smile that really captivated me, though. I'll never forget the time I got lost in a Lana vagina vortex. I swear to God, if everyone ever explores it, that is going to be the true source of power of the Bermuda Triangle. There's no question. No question. So Rusev gets the victory quite handedly, though, after he kicks Lana out of the stands again. It's just a matter of time now when Lana is going to do the full turn on Rusev and probably embrace the American lifestyle. She's more than likely going to announce that she is actually American and drop the stupid accent, because there's no reason to keep her going with that accent after she leaves Rusev. So that'd be really cool. We know that they're actually together in real life, and that's great, but that doesn't mean they necessarily have to work together. And the cool thing is they've built such a foundation that when they do eventually in the future reconnect, because I'm sure they will, it'll be a big thing, and that's cool. Stardust and R-Truth, nothing wrong with the match. Very weird. Both of these guys very strange again. Everybody wondering what Stardust was bringing down to the ring in a bag. I guess it's going to be his bag of tricks now. And this week it was a bag of rubber spiders, and R-Truth freaked the fuck out. That was a very WWE-ish nowadays. I talk about balance of WWE quite often. This is what I'm talking about. Yes, it was hokey, and yes, it would piss some people off. There's no question about that, and I completely understand why it would. It was dumb. It was a bag of fake spiders. It gives a shit. But at the same time, it was somewhat interesting because it gives you that sense of balance that WWE is trying to always accomplish. And it wasn't like super insulting. It was just kind of stupid. And we moved the hell on, and Stardust got the victory off the distraction from his bag of tricks. It'd be kind of cool if he keeps that gimmick going and has different things to... God, my nose is itching. It's like I did drugs or something, and my nose itches so bad. The narcotic itch, but I didn't. I wish I would have, but I haven't. Anybody know a good pot dealer here in Germany, let me know. Davey needs the hook up. Anyway, so after that, John Cena comes out and gets into a very long-winded promo, which was a source of hot contention on the Joe Crone show last night. Because I contended that the promo was terrible. I just did not get into it. He just kept going on and on and on. And I felt what he was doing was giving by doing that, Montreal really, which is a smart wrestling town, knew Sami Zayn was going to be making his debut. So with Cena elongating the goddamn thing, it gave all the chances for the Sami Zayn chance and the ole 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 chance, and I think that kind of took a little bit away from Sami finally coming out. They tried to throw the okie doke out there, which I thought was kind of cool. Bret Hart coming out when Cena finally does get to the point. By the way, it should be important to note that John Cena's promo was mainly around never giving up because of the I Quit match coming up and all that. And that does play into the match. Now, we're going to debate whether that was purposeful or not purposeful in a moment. So after the United States Open Challenge gets underway, Bret Hart comes out, and in a really good moment, Bret looked terrible. He sounded terrible. There was obviously some cue mistakes, but Bret needs to be able to roll with the punches a little bit more when those cue mistakes happen. And Heath Slater comes out to interrupt and gets booed profusely, which is fine. And pretty funny, though. I like Heath Slater. I think he's hysterical because he's so goofy and you can't take him seriously, and that's kind of the beauty of it. But he comes down, he says, "I'm not going to get taken out of nowhere again." And Bret just gives him a little tap with the microphone, and down goes Slater. Pretty funny. Bret then continues to introduce the guy that he came out to introduce, and of course it is Sami Zayn. And out he comes to a humongous pop, the hometown boy. And by the way, whoever tried to correct me yesterday, you ruined my day, by the way, because you disabled your friggin' comments reply option, and I couldn't reply to you and tell you that you were stupid. You tried to tell me that I was wrong about where Sami Zayn was from. He was born in Canada. He was born in friggin' Montreal. It's where he was born. Born in Quebec. Yes, he has Syrian roots, but he's not born there. He is Syrian, yes. But that's about it. That's ethnicity, not nationality. He is Canadian, and don't fucking forget it. I don't even know who you are, and I don't want to look you up because I just want to get angry and hate fuck my camera here. But Jesus, it just ruined my day. I don't even know why. It just pissed me off. If you're going to try and correct me, at least do your homework and make sure that you're right. Don't do anything like that. So that's for the match. Sami comes out and we get a great match. Something looked wrong with Sami pretty quickly. His shoulder kind of looked weird. It really started to look weird after a kind of a side slam by John Cena. He got up and the ref did give the X symbol, which usually means that there's a legitimate injury. But I don't know. It felt like it was a work. It felt like there was nothing really wrong with Sami's arm, that he was just selling, and they were trying to make it seem more realistic to kind of trump up this entire never give up attitude and kind of give Sami a hook for his first match. Now, apparently, that's not the case. There are reports that are coming out that this injury actually is quite real. And apparently, this is what I'm reading off of WrestlingInc.com. He says, they say that regarding Sami Zayn's shoulder injury suffered in last night's Raw, the injury apparently came before the match started. Zayn was making his entrance and was raising his arms, and apparently something happened then. He was showing signs of the injury but worked the match, and the referee did throw up the X symbol. Zayn was allowed to finish, and in fact, he did a great job during the match. Here's the thing where he continued to celebrate in the ring after, and then later on in the night, apparently, on the he did some post-Raw segments when his shoulder was bandaged up. And usually when they do the bandage like that, most of the time it does signal a work. So I'm still not convinced that this is not a work, that this was completely planned and kind of to give Sami a hook. And also, it's being reported that this was to be considered as Sami Zayn's official elevation to the roster. Now, whether or not he's going to be there more frequently, I think depends on this MRI. The WWE is saying he's having an MRI. Now, we don't know if he's actually having an MRI, but it's quite possible that he is. So I think it kind of comes into a situation with that where you want to see him not be hurt, obviously, and continue to wrestle on Raw and SmackDown. Now, he does have an NXT title match, which one would have to assume he will lose to Kevin Owens now, even more obviously. If it wasn't obvious before, Kevin Owens should continue his run down there to make his prep to come up to the main roster. And, it's pretty interesting to see how things are going there. And this match with him and Cena was very, very good. Sami Zayn is an amazing worker. Everybody's talking about his dive through the ropes into a tornado DDT, which you don't see very often. He does this move often, and he does it very well. One of the only guys who does it with such proficiency, and he's very effective with it, and it's a lot of fun to see. I love that move. I love Sami Zayn. He showed me a lot last night. Working with a guy who's not a fantastic worker, or wrestler, I should say, Cena is like Hulk Hogan in a lot of ways in the ring. Not the most athletic guy in the world, especially at this stage in his career, but he knows how to work a match. I'm not saying he's fantastic at it, but he knows how to work a match. He may not know how to wrestle, but he knows how to work a match. And Zayn really did get a lot out of him, and they got a lot out of each other, and it was a really, really entertaining match. I enjoyed the hell out of it. The ending was atrocious, though. It was horrible. That was a terrible, terrible ending. I am so over that friggin' springboard stunner. I can't even tell you. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Can't stand it. I don't want to see it no more. It doesn't work. It looks terrible. Can't stand it. But John Cena does get the victory. And then Sami continues to sell the shoulder injury after the match. Cena extends the hand, helps him up, and raises his hand, gives him a complete friggin' rub. It was pretty awesome. Leaves him in the ring. This was very similar to John Cena's debut against Kurt Angle. And obviously, there's a parallel. There's a reason for that. Because if Roman Reigns is not the next Cena, well, Sami Zayn certainly could be. Which is a little bit of a shame because Zayn is such a good worker and Reigns isn't. So that's why I didn't really have a problem with Reigns being the next Cena. But I don't think he fits that mold as well as Sami Zayn might. He's got the look for it. But the thing is, he is a good worker. So he might be the perfect replacement for Cena. He might be that guy. But he is 30. So, but that's about where Reigns is too, so it doesn't really matter. What happened after? Oh yeah, the Sami gets his moment and they're talking in the back and everything. Renee is doing interviews, and the New Day comes out and interrupts, and they're still clapping, and here comes Natalya and Kid and Cesaro. And they get the New Day sucks thing going on. Obviously, that rivalry is not done. Thanks for that. The Bellas come out. They're about to have their match, but they get ambushed. It was supposed to be Nikki versus Naomi, but they get ambushed by Naomi and a returning Tamina Snuka, who looked like Snuka, who looked like a complete badass. I love Tamina. I think she works stiff. She works hard. I like her a lot. She's big. I didn't like her with AJ too much because I didn't feel like it was a really good combo. I know it was kind of going for the Shawn Michaels Diesel thing, like Joe likes to say, Joe Cronin. But for me, I didn't think it worked. I think this is a much better pairing because they are family, and that's kind of cool. It was their cousin-in-laws, which is pretty neat. But it was just a lot of fun to see them together, and the attitude that Naomi brings out is she exudes this. She's really starting to buy into this new persona of hers, and it's working well. Now, whether or not the Bellas are on the way out, that's debatable. But Paige is set to return really soon, so we'll see how that goes. After that, we got Bad News Barrett coming out. The King, Bad News Barrett, all hail the King, coming out and giving his decrees. Really doesn't say anything very good except for, all hail King Barrett. That sets up the match that we were going to see, Sheamus versus King Barrett versus Dolph Ziggler and Neville. Another very solid match. Good back and forth stuff. Everybody gets offense in, and eventually Barrett gets the victory on Neville because Neville springboarded into a bullhammer. What can I say? This is a great rivalry between these four guys, and they can do whatever the hell they want with these four and throw in the Intercontinental title if they want to do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making that happen at this point. It'd be very entertaining, very interesting, and with every passing day, it looks less and less likely that Daniel Bryan is going to return. Anytime soon, at least. So why not go ahead and move forward with this situation and get these four into the Intercontinental chase, whether it's a tournament between the four for the interim title or if it's for the actual title. You want to put it in a ladder, you want to, whatever you want to do. These four need to be the four main guys for that Intercontinental title, and it would be unbelievably entertaining. If you want to add more guys, you can do that. Sandow, looking at you, bud. So this could be quite interesting, entertaining, a lot of fun. After that, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton for the main event. Noble, Mercury, Rollins, and Kane were all out there in different roles. Who gives a flying hell? It didn't really matter. Look, as much as I didn't care about this match, and I didn't because it was it was Reigns and RKO. I didn't care about the match. When you actually watch the match, it wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty solid match. They worked a good match together. Which isn't surprising because Orton is so good. It's just boring. Nobody cares. It doesn't draw you in because it doesn't matter. If they're setting up, it's two faces, which is a hard sell as it is, but it's two faces that are borderline faces to begin with. Yes, Randy Orton's getting cheers, but his actions and his persona is not face-like. And I'm sorry, Roman Reigns, for as good looking as that man is, he also looks like an ass. And when you look like a dick, it's hard to take you seriously as a face because he either looks like a dickhead or he starts pouting like a puppy and he looks like a pusswad. So it's like, pick your poison, dick or pussy, which is always the choice when it comes down to it. It's the choice of a new generation. So that match ends up turning into a beatdown. The Authority getting in there and kicking some ass until Dean Ambrose comes out and starts cleaning house. And then, after they get rid of Rollins, Orton nails Reigns with an RKO. And Ambrose nails Orton with the Dirty Deeds. He celebrates as the music hits and Raw goes off the air. Everybody else recovers and Ambrose stands tall. So now the question is, of course, is that foreshadowing of the future and we're going to see Dean Ambrose be the champion? Or is this all smoke and mirrors to kind of make the main event at a pay-per-view nobody really cares about more interesting? It should be noted that the WWE for the second consecutive month is making the network free. That is a bad sign for the network. Once again, for April and May have both been free. That's a bad sign. That means that 1.3 million is not holding, and they are trying to get eyeballs. And it's not surprising that they're trying to get eyeballs onto the network for free when they're releasing the most amount of content that they ever have before. There's new shows on the network now, so this is a really smart time to have it free, to kind of build your audience and get as many people to pay for SummerSlam or Money in the Bank as humanly possible. So that's a smart strategy. So it could be a little bit of a worrying situation for WWE, freaking out that maybe they're losing subscribers or whatever. But at the same time, it could be more of a planned situation for building a better audience for the next big pay-per-view. And it really could be either one of those situations. And honestly, I'm cool with either one. So overall, I'm going to give Raw. I thought Raw was really solid for wrestling content. I thought it was really good. A lot of the promo work, mainly because I'm not sold with the main event scene. I am more now that Ambrose is involved, but because I'm not enthralled with Rollins, I'm going to have to go ahead and give this Raw I want to give it an 8, but I feel like that's too high. So I'm going to give it a 7.75, a 7.75, 7.75 stars, because I felt that it was a good Raw. I felt it was a really strong Raw, actually. One of the better ones that we've seen in a long time, with a lot of mark-out moments and interesting things that people weren't seeing coming. We had returns, we had debuts, we had legends. These are the type of things that you want to see, and we had new factions growing before our very eyes in the New Day, which is really cool. We had interesting side action, the Lana storyline. There was a lot going on in this Raw, which you can get lost in the negative and you can get lost in the fake spiders and some of the other shit that happens, or you can embrace some of the really good things that are happening on Raw on a weekly basis. And I feel this is one of those Raws that the wrestling kind of saved the show, which is a rare thing for a WWE product nowadays. The wrestling kind of made the show worth it. So that was cool. I thought it was a good show. I had fun with it. I know a lot. Really the only other things that are going on, which I've already, I've covered everything else. I've covered the Sami Zayn injury. There are rumors that Daniel Bryan has already made his decision to retire, but those are rumors. I can't find them anywhere, to be completely honest. Other than that, it is what it is. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on there, so hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are also watching me on Joe Cronin's show, the Monday Night Raw review. Last night was a little bit of a train wreck for the actual review, which was a little unfortunate because Raw was really noteworthy. There was a lot to talk about. But, some stuff happened. We got a lot of things going on with the community. There's a lot of upheaval within the community amongst some of the members that take themselves a little bit too seriously. And this is something I want to talk about. Look, I just did a show with Tommy C. It's already up on his channel, Shot from the Point. We did In the Crease today. And at the end of the show, Tommy goes on an impassioned speech against, really, MCW. Now, those of you who know who MCW is, you kind of know where the situation has come from. Those of you who don't, they are a group of guys that have been in the Joe Cronin show, the Joe Cronin family community for a long time, whether as callers or people who have actually helped. And in fact, many of them have also helped on this channel as well. In fact, just about all of them. There's Crowley, there's Graham Hull, who you've seen here. Marky D is called in. He's the owner of that clique. Dave Rose and Isaac Rojas do most of my graphics. I don't know if they're going to continue to do most of my graphics after this, but I don't know. Look, it's a situation of some people taking themselves a little bit too seriously and not understanding that sometimes there are people in this world that do have a direct double standard. And I'm not gonna rail against MCW, but I will call what I think is wrong because it's annoying to see some of the things happening with Tommy NC. Tommy NC 2010 is a great kid. He's doing a lot of things. He's gonna be on Tosh.0 tonight. And instead of focusing on that, we're focusing on all this friggin' stupid drama between him and MCW. Now, Tommy does things that can be kind of annoying sometimes, but that's okay. He's Tommy NC. If you don't want to be a part of him, if you don't want him to be a part of your stuff, you can ask him to go away. You just have to deal with the consequence of being somebody who turns away an autistic kid. But that's okay. If you do it respectfully, there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you don't want him a part of it, you don't want him a part of it. That's fine. That's fine. But when you tell him things that maybe regular, everyday people are going to understand, he might get it a little bit mixed up in his head because he's autistic. It's okay. And he tries to convey it, and it sometimes doesn't come out 100% in the way that it was intended. You can't bury him for it, and you can't take yourselves too seriously. I can't tell you how I've gotten a friggin' message from every single person with the MCW for something Tommy C and I did with Tommy NC last week, which was a complete 100% goof. It was a goof. We were having fun with a situation with our friend Tommy NC. We have done so much to try to put over MCW, and we've participated with MCW. We've done a promo for MCW. We weren't asked, we were told to do a promo for MCW. We never asked and approached properly, but instead of being dicks about it, we went ahead and participated because these are our friends. We're trying to help out. So when we make jokes, we're not expected to get a lot of backlash from a small group of fucking YouTubers that honestly take themselves far too fucking seriously. So Tommy got pissed off and he went on a fucking rampage. And guess what? He's 100% right in his rampage. 100% right. I'll back him up in every single word that he had. Now, granted, during that video, I sat silent for most of it. Because let's face it, when Tommy C gets a rolling, you let him roll. All right? So that's what I did. But at the same, doesn't mean I didn't agree with him. I back him up 110% because he's right. Was it the right time or place? Probably not, but that's okay. Fuck it. Who cares? It's something that needs to be addressed, so it got addressed. And it's unfortunate that I'm having to address it here, but I just want to make sure my stance is also documented on this channel. So for those of you who this applies to, take it. For those it doesn't, you can go ahead and skip past the entire thing. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect the channel. And I hope that all those guys understand that as far as I'm concerned, individually, we're still in good standing. You want to kill my character in MCW, I don't give a shit. I don't watch the show anyway. I can't watch it. I can't get through it. I'm sorry. I can't get through it. Can't do it. It's just not for me. It's not that it's horrible. It's just not for me. Big deal. But I had no problems in promoting you guys. In fact, I've asked on several occasions to get a freaking logo that I can put down below my little face like you see these other ones and promote the channel. I have no problem with that. I like to promote you guys. I like that. I've been helped build this channel. I want to help other people build theirs. Unfortunately, that doesn't look like that's going to continue because people take themselves too serious. I'm a fat guy on a couch. That's what this is. This is YouTube. I'm a fat asshole on a couch. Get over it. It's a big deal. I'm going to drink my coffee here. Oh, God, I drooled. Oh, my God. Wow. I'm fat and disgusting. Jesus. Oh, I'm an embarrassment. God, we can look at that. Anyway. So, yeah. I'm hoping that we can all still be buddies because I do like you guys all. And you've all more than welcome on my channel. If you don't show back up because you're upset about things, that's perfectly fine too. But, it is what it is, guys. And you guess what? You're more than welcome to talk with me, but really talk with Tommy C anytime you like. Now, I gave warnings to some of y'all to not keep this thing going because I kind of knew it was going to happen. And guess what? It did. You played with fire and you got burned. And guess what? Tommy C's fire. Plain and simple. He's fire. He's red hot molten fucking lava. And he's a steamroll when he sees something is morally fucking wrong. He goes at it and he makes no apologies for it. And God bless him for that because Lord knows there's too many pussies in this world who don't stand up for the things that matter. Tommy C is not one of those guys. He will always stand up for what he believes is right. You like him or hate him. Doesn't matter. He stands up for what he feels is right. And that's a rare thing in this world. Rare thing. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me right here on Dead on Dave Productions yet again. I hope you guys check out everybody in the community. Tommy C over Shot from the Point, Joe Cronin Show, and of course, Jeff the Huff Huffman over at Grand Slam 87, and Dave Rose and everybody else as well. The Devious Dave Rose, Graham Hull, all those guys. I got nothing against anybody. This situation has gotten out of control. It's stupid. Other than that, make sure you check out Shot from the Point tonight, because Tommy C and I are going live at about 2 a.m. our time. So that is about 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I'm doing my math correctly. Actually, 7:30, because we're going 1:30 my time. So I believe that's 7:30. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. For Tommy C's live bachelor party. We're going to get fucked up. We're going to get crazy. We're going to drink. We're going to have fun. We're going to say many, many cuss words. And you can tweet and send pictures to Tommy of your dicks. It'd be hilarious. He likes dicks. Send those pictures of dicks to Tommy C. Do it. Dave commands it. Make sure you check us out. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to watch hockey. We're going to talk hockey. And we're going to reminisce about Tommy's bachelorhood, which he doesn't have anyway because he's been married for like a year, but his wedding's coming up. So it's a big confusing thing. But it's okay. We're going to talk about that at length, I'm sure, as well. Thank you guys for joining me once again right here on Dead on Dave Productions. We will see you tomorrow right here. And remember, kids, if you're not talented, have talented friends. We'll see you next time. Peace.